Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Welcome to Bulgaria.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to interview you. But first, can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so my name is Chris. I come here from California. Specifically, I come from San Diego, which is in Southern California, just next to LA, very close to LA. I was born and raised there. That's also where I went to university. And in San Diego, we are known there for our weather. It does not get very cold or very hot there. So getting ready for the winter here in Dobrich is going to be something completely new to me, and I'm ready for the challenge.
So you had a lot of options, but why did you choose Bulgaria specifically?
So when I was in university, I spent a semester studying abroad in Madrid, Spain, and I loved being in Europe. The minute I got back, I knew I wanted to come back to Europe, and I found the program that I'm with called Fulbbraitt. And they had a lot of programs all throughout Europe, and I had already experienced Western Europe, so I really wanted to come somewhere in Eastern Europe just to see the other half of the continent. And they had a really good program in Bulgaria, so I kind of started looking into it a little more, and I forgot about it for a little while. And then I was listening to one of my favorite bands. Their name is Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And they were a really big band in the 60s and 70s. They played at Woodstock, actually. But I was reading up on them, and they said one of their biggest influences was Bulgarian music. And specifically, they said the Music of Bulgaria album by Philip Kutev really inspired their vocal harmonies. So I listened to that album, and then I started listening to a little bit more of Bulgarian music, and I thought it was really interesting, and I had never really heard anything quite like that. And it just really made me interested in the country, and so I started looking up a little bit more about the history and the culture, and where it was on a map I thought was really interesting, cross between, like the Soviets, Ottoman, Greek, the Balkans. I thought it was a really interesting mix. So I just got really interested, and it just seemed like a good place for me.
So you come from the other side of the world, and were there any cultural shocks for you?
To be honest, I was expecting more of a culture shock. In a lot of ways, I do think Bulgaria is similar to the US. Obviously, it's different in a lot of ways too. Getting here and seeing the street signs all in a different alphabet than I'm used to, that took a little getting used to. And I'm still learning, so trying to sound out those words written down is a little more difficult for me, and walking around hearing people speak another language is very different too. But overall, there weren't any big culture shocks. I think the most surprising thing has been how patient Bulgarian people have been with me. I came here not speaking any of the language. I expected people to be a little impatient with me or a little frustrated that I could come to their country and not speak any of the language. But I have not had one person get impatient with me. When I'm at the store trying to get through a conversation, they're always laughing, trying to help me. I was buying a bus ticket the other day, and the lady was drawing out pictures for me to try to help me understand, and then somebody else in line was translating for me, even though they only spoke a few words of English. And that's just kind of how it's been. Everybody has been super friendly, and I really like the Bulgarian people for that.
I'm really happy you had this opinion about our population, and I can ask you, which is your favorite Bulgarian word?
There's a lot of good ones, and I can't pronounce all of them, but when I first got here, for the program, they put us in an intensive language course to learn Bulgarian, and our instructor, she'd always say, "Чудесно," and just the way she would say it is stuck with me, and I really love that word. Every time I hear someone say that, it makes me feel so calm and happy to be here. So I think that's the word, чудесно.
Okay, and do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, so I've been involved in music for a very long time. I've never had any formal education in music, but I've been playing guitar now for about 8 years, and I used to be in a band in high school with a few of my friends. Not like an orchestra, but like a rock band, So I've always loved music, and I play guitar every single day. And I think that's actually why I was put here at this school, the art school, because it's your first time having someone from America, and they thought I would fit well being musically minded coming to an art school. So I've had a lot of fun, and I really enjoy being around these students who are so musically inclined. It's been really cool.
You have already mentioned Philip Putev, and I know that you can play perfectly the guitar, so are you interested in learning how to play a Bulgarian folk instrument?
Yeah, I'm very interested actually. I've pretty much to all of my students, I've asked them, where can I get a tambura? Because when I first got here, the Fulbraight program, they were showing us some Bulgarian music and songs, and I ended up playing guitar with an American guy, but he was playing the tambura, and playing with him, I loved the sound, I love the song, I love the way it fits in with the Bulgarian music. So I really want to buy a tambura and learn the tambura and hopefully be able to take it back to the US, because I had never heard of it before I got here, and I love the way it sounds. So yes, I'm trying to find a tambura. I haven't found one yet, but I'm on a mission.
So let's ask you about another aspect of our culture. Have you tried Bulgarian local cuisine?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that might be my favorite thing about the country actually. The people are great, but the food is... When I was studying in Madrid, I got sick of the food really quickly, so I was kind of expecting when I got here I would get sick of the food, but there's so much of it and it's all so good that I love it. I think my favorite is probably banitsa.
Very good choice.
Yeah.
So you're a teacher in our school, and do you have now any opinion about the differences between our educational system and the American one?
Yeah, it's different in a lot of ways. It's similar in a lot of ways. I think one of the biggest differences would be in Bulgaria, at least at Охридски here at this school, students choose their specialization much earlier. So this is an art school, you know, they're involved with music or dance or graphic design, and I think that's good because the students early on, they get to choose what they want to focus on, and it gives them that experience of being surrounded by it. And they're surrounded by people who have similar interests to them, and I think that's really good for them. On the other hand, I think it could be young for some people. They might pick something and then realize that they're not interested in that, which that's going to be a risk at any age, I guess. But in the US, we don't really pick any kind of specialization until we go to university. And I guess you could argue by that point, if you don't like it, it's almost too late to try to start something new. So I think it's interesting that the focus in Bulgaria seems to be more on what the student is interested in, not what us educators decide they should be interested in, if that makes sense.
Yes, and what are your first impressions of Bulgarian students?
I love them. They're all so nice to me, and they're so interested to talk to me, which is really endearing. They've all reached out, most of them have reached out on Facebook to talk to me, or they say hi to me walking around the town. The Bulgarian classroom is a little different than the American classroom. I think it's a little more, the students are much louder, I think. Not in a bad way, it feels more like a family in that way. Because in America, the teachers, there's a barrier we put up with the students where we're not really friends. We might be friendly, but we're not friends with the students. And in Bulgaria, that barrier is not there. It seems like the teachers are almost like a parent to the kids, which is really cool. And so in the classroom, even when it gets loud and crazy, you can tell that the students still respect the teacher and they're very respectful. They're just having fun. But I like them. Everybody has been very nice to me, and they all come up to me after class to want to take pictures or to ask about America, and it's very sweet. And yeah, I'm really liking these kids.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So, Chris, thank you very much for this interview. Have a great time here in Bulgaria and enjoy yourself.
I will. Thank you, and thank your country for hosting me.
You're very welcome.
I'm having a great time. Thank you.